The Pope visits 2 African countries, drive-by shooting in Florida leaves 10 injured, and the NFL prepares for Super Bowl 57. All this and more on this episode of Hawk TV News. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawk TV News. I'm Gabby Nadridge.
And I'm Morgan Alston. At least 10 people were wounded in a drive-by shooting that took place Monday afternoon in Lakewood, Florida. 8 of the victims got away with a non-life-threatening injury, while 2 are currently in critical condition. All of the victims have been identified as males between the ages of 20 and 35. Police have found a substantial amount of marijuana on the scene, which are leading them to believe this might have been a target attack on the drug deal, but cannot formally confirm those speculations. The chief of police said that he has never dealt with a shooting of this size in his 30-plus years in Lakeland.
New Jersey Attorney General Matt Platkin has joined Attorney General Merrick Garland's federal antitrust lawsuit against Google on Tuesday, January 24th. The lawsuit claims that Google is dominating the online advertising market and controls the exchanges. The Justice Department is declaring that Google is violating antitrust laws by controlling the tools and technology being used in the online advertising industry. Attorney generals joining this lawsuit have spread from California to Virginia. Platkin claims the actions being taken in the lawsuit are being done to protect New Jersey consumers. Google has responded to the lawsuit by saying that the legal action is an attempt to rewrite history.
Pope Francis started a trip today to 2 African nations, South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo, in an effort to help bring people together and help fight hunger. DRC and South Sudan are 2 majority Catholic countries, and this visit comes as a schedule as he was supposed to visit last summer, but was unable to due to a knee injury. The 86-year-old Pope will embark the first time a Pope has made it to the DRC since 1985, when Pope John Paul II traveled to then-named country, Zaire.
President Joe Biden made the decision on Monday to not send F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine a day after Germany also declined to send fighter jets. F-16s are regarded as one of the best and most reliable jets in the world. President Zelensky said that they need the aircrafts to help protect the skies in their ongoing war with Russia, as they are outnumbered 6-1. The majority of Ukraine's fleet includes planes that are over 30 years old.
We have to take a short break, but stay tuned for more Hawk TV News.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere, and just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Mom, I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got stuck.
Are you a dog?
I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the pliers? Where'd you find those?
It's not your birthday.
Sorry.
Hi, Grandma.
care of yourself.
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Mom, I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got stuck.
Are you a dog?
I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the pliers? Where'd you find those?
It's not your birthday.
Sorry.
Bye, Grandpa.
Bye, Grandpa.
Take care of yourself.
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Secret Service arrests a man for impersonating a police officer at Capitol Hill who was found carrying knives. Max Eli Viner, a 37-year-old man, was already wanted by the Secret Service and now faces charges of impersonating a law enforcement officer and possession of a deadly weapon inside the District of Columbia.
New to the bar scene, here's Derek Reyna with tips and tricks for your next time on the town.
What's going on, guys? Derek here. I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks for going out to the bars. So of my 3 tips, my first one is going to be know your atmosphere. Know what kind of night you and the gang want to have when you go out. So there's a variety of different bars you can go to out there. You can go to a dive bar, a club type bar, a sports bar, each having their pros and cons. A sports bar is cool because like, you usually have a big crowd there, people having fun watching the game, but you know, sometimes people get tied up in the game, they're loud, they're rowdy, you might not want to deal with that. So maybe you're looking for somewhere quieter. You go to a dive bar, it might be a little more intimate, it might be a little more quieter, but you're probably going to get cheap drinks there. Or, I mean, you could also go to a dance or club type bar where like you're going to be able to dance and socialize in a big group like that. That's another option. It's just really knowing what you want and setting your expectations for the night and making sure they're met so that you and the gang have a fun time. My second tip is going to be learn to navigate a crowd. You're going to be a crowd, it's going to be busy. Sometimes you're going to have to get from point A to point B usually being the bar. And if there's a lot of people, the best way to get through them is finding gaps. Find gaps in between groups of people hanging out. You don't want to be the person walking in between someone trying to get a cutie's number. You know, you don't want to be blocking people like that. You got to get through the crowd as fast as you can. Other little tricks for this is find someone else going through the crowd, get behind them like Moses part in the sea, stay right behind them, you'll get through a crowd. The cheeky way is to kind of follow security guards with their lights. They're bigger. They usually get through a crowd pretty easy, but it's like following a cop in traffic. And then my third and final tip is going to be bartenders are your friends. Tip your bartender well and you will get good service. If you become a regular at a certain spot and you go to the same bartender, that bartender will learn who you are and they will take care of you when you're there. I guarantee your service will be like this. You will wait less than a minute for drinks if the bartender knows you and knows you are going to tip them well. My personal advice for this, when you get there, tip hefty, $15, $20 on that first round that everyone gets. After that, $2, $3 a drink. And then when you close out that tab, maybe a $10, $15 tip just so that bartender remembers you because you tipped them and they will give you the service. Anyway, I'm Derek and those were my tips and tricks for the bar. Back to Gabby and Morgan in the studio.
February is officially Black History Month, and Monmouth University is teaming up with the school's Black Student Union to create a month full of events catered to exploring, learning, and to acknowledge the important Black figures, past and present. For the whole month, the Black Student Union will be hosting weekly events such as an open mic night, skate night, mobile museum, and so much more. Take the time to learn about the accomplishments and achievements that have been made by African Americans in this country, despite the history of oppression and racism. This month can be celebrated by everyone with a variety of ways to get involved. Educate yourself on noble Black figures in history. Support Black businesses, big and small, and get out of your comfort zone. And continue to advocate for those who may not be able to advocate for themselves. The first event on the campus kicks off with the Black History Museum Trivia Game Night, happening on Wednesday, February 1st in Anacon from 9 to 10 p.m. Bring a friend and win some prizes.
Sections of a park in Phoenix were closed over the weekend after police investigating the discovery of a human skull found earlier this month located more human remains, authorities said Sunday. Investigators were searching for more evidence from a homicide that occurred there when the skull was found. Signs of trauma have been found according to the authorities, prompting them to believe that this was a homicide. This is the second time this month where human remains have been found in the Arizona desert.
The new hit show, The Last of Us, is taking over the television world. This show is based off the critically acclaimed video game of the same title and has been reviewed as one of the best shows of all time. Here's sports anchor Brian Durr with the latest on the show.
With its first episode being released on January 15th, 2 more episodes being released since then, and 6 more this season, The Last of Us has already established itself as one of the greatest shows of our generation. Inspired by the award-winning PlayStation exclusive game of the same name, The Last of Us takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where streets are run wild with infected zombie-like humans. Spoiler warnings ahead, as I will be covering the events of the first 3 episodes, some highlights from the game, what's to come, and more. The show opens with a news talk show discussing the possibility of an apocalypse and end-of-the-world scenarios. One of the doctors suggests that a fungus could be among us, with the possibility of taking over host bodies, spreading, and leaving people in a zombified state. The show then brings us to a single father and his daughter, Joel and Sarah, portrayed by Pedro Pascal and Nico Parker, as they are living a day like any other, despite it being Joel's birthday. By the end of the day, the city is filled with infected, and Joel, Sarah, and Uncle Tommy, portrayed by Gabriel Luna, must make their escape. During their escape, Sarah is injured, and her and Joel are separated from Uncle Tommy. Once they get away from the chaos of the streets, Joel and Sarah are face to face with a soldier who does not want to take any chances with the situation at hand, and he opens fire on Sarah and Joel. Although Tommy is able to take out the soldier, it is too late for Sarah, as she has been fatally wounded, and this scene provides for one of the saddest deaths in all of TV. Both Pascal and Parker put on Emmy-worthy performances before Sarah fades away. The show then takes a 20-year time jump, where Joel is now older, grizzled, and damaged from the broken world around him. Trying to find his brother Tommy, Joel takes on a mission where his companion Tess, portrayed by Anna Torv, are then told a part of their mission would entail transporting a young girl from one place to another. This snarky young girl's name is Ellie, who is portrayed by Bella Ramsey. Having been born in the apocalypse, Ellie is naive to what the world used to be and what life is like on the outside of the walls of the new city that she has been living in. She also has one more trick up her sleeve, literally. She has a bite mark on her arm from one of the infected that has not caused her to turn. This is why she is so important and must be transported to a different facility. The following episode allows for these 3 characters, Joel, Tess, and Ellie, to bond and develop, and episode 3 introduces even more characters, 2 men being played by Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett. This episode, the newest of the series so far, takes the viewers through a heart-wrenching roller coaster, the lives of these 2 men who Joel and Tess have befriended and learned to rely on. These 2 men, Bill and Frank, find love, live a wonderful life together through many ups and downs. While this episode can be considered a filler episode, the story of Bill and Frank has already touched the hearts of viewers everywhere, with some scenes followed the game directly, from dialogue, camera angles, and cinematics and more, and other scenes, such as Bill and Frank's relationship, going away from the reference material entirely. Last of Us fans everywhere can agree that the show has gone above and beyond to do the game justice. The casting of the show has been phenomenal, with Pedro Pascal maintaining his heartthrob status and Nick Offerman's performance of Bill bringing audiences to tears everywhere. There's a stereotype that shows and movies based on video games tend to fall flat, but recently shows like The Witcher and movies like Sonic have been proving this stereotype wrong. The Last of Us is following this trend. So far, showrunners have shown they are not afraid to change some aspects of the original game. So the big question is, will they follow the reference material through to the ending? What will Joel do with Ellie? You have to watch more to find out. So far, the show has already been renewed for a second season. So the time is now to get started on what will be a franchise for the history books. Also tune in for the companion podcast for an inside scoop on the creation of the episodes, references to games, and more. Whether you've played the game or not, I cannot recommend the show enough to you. So if you have an HBO subscription, tune in, catch up, and prepare for the next episode when it drops on 9 p.m. Eastern. This has been Brian Durr. Back to you, Gabby and Morgan.
This has been a very mild winter, as some places have yet to even experience their first snowfall of the season. For those who live in New York City, this has been the longest wait in recorded history. The previous 50-year record was set in 1973 when they received about 2 inches of snow on January the 29th. There has been a couple instances of flurries being spotted in the Big Apple, but nothing measurable. With February starting tomorrow, many experts and scientists use this as a prime example as the proof of climate change and global warming.
A New Jersey man has been sentenced to 12 years in a state prison after selling a teenager cocaine laced with fentanyl. Freddie Smith, a 44-year-old man from Vineland, sold the drugs to the teen in a Wawa parking lot on March 11, 2020. Officials have found that the boy died at his house the next day, and the toxicology report shows signs of opioids and cocaine in his system. When authorities searched Smith's home, they found distribution along with higher quantities of cocaine and fentanyl.
3-time Golden Globe winner Alec Baldwin has been officially charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter for his involvement in the October 2021 shooting that took place during the filming of his upcoming movie. Helena Hutchins, a Ukrainian cinematographer, was killed when Alec fired a loaded prop gun, which was not meant to be live, and the shot also injured Joel Souza. Just 3 months ago, Baldwin reached a settlement with the Hutchins family over their wrongful death lawsuit. Now Baldwin is being formally charged for the death.
We gotta take another short break, but stay right here for more Hawk TV News.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Joel, spot on this last one. There it is.
Keep going with it. Leo! They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Joel, spot on this last one. There it is.
Keep going with it. Leo! They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Mom, I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got stuck.
Are you a dog?
I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the pliers? Where'd you find those?
It's not your birthday.
Sorry.
Bye, Grandpa.
Bye, Grandpa.
Take care of yourself.
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
With the NFL season coming to a close, here's Jacob Racino with the latest on this year's big game.
The end of the NFL playoffs means two things, the Super Bowl and the last NFL game. Well, we don't want to talk about no more football, so let's talk about the big game. The Philadelphia Eagles are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 57. This makes the second time in 6 seasons the Eagles have made it and the third time in 4 years that the Chiefs have made it. Say what you want to say about the Eagles team, they have proved all the claims wrong about being frauds. After big wins over the Giants and the Niners, they are coming into this game with all cards on the table. On Kansas City's side, Patrick Mahomes is a bad man. Playing on a high ankle sprain, that did not matter as he got the dub over Cincinnati. Questionable calls and a late hit aside, Patrick Mahomes is looking to become a 2-time champ. Now, let's get into what in here. Predictions. I'm talking underdog from Extra Point in my commentary right here on News, never before seen. So, what do I want to take? I like tails on the coin flip. You know why? Tails never fails. What color is the Gatorade going to be? Some people say red, some people say green. I like orange. I don't care who wins it. Orange is just calling out this year. Touchdowns, I can guarantee you Travis Kelce's getting in. I can guarantee you Jalen Hurts is getting in. Because why wouldn't they get in? They get in every week. You are leaving this game up to chance when it doesn't have to be. When the true chance about this game is who's going to win. Eagles right now are 1.5 favorites. That can go either way. You know, no one really knows who's going to win this game. This is truly the two best teams in the season meeting in the Super Bowl. We haven't had a Super Bowl arguably of this caliber in quite some time. I see people every week saying, oh, the Eagles are going to beat them by 15. Just this morning, I saw people say the Chiefs are going to stomp over the Eagles. The Eagles haven't played anybody. Well, guess what? It's a Super Bowl. It's any given Sunday. So you know what? Like I said, it's the Super Bowl. Have some fun. Kick back, eat some wings, watch the game, and then for the next 7 months, be sad we have no more football. Oh, and by the way, I got the Chiefs winning. It's hard to pick against Patrick Mahomes. That's going to do it, y'all. Enjoy it.
New Jersey and Essex County authorities are investigating a hate crime that occurred early Sunday morning at the Jewish temple Ner Tamad in Bloomfield. The incident occurred around 3 in the morning that involved an attempt of arson. The suspect allegedly threw a homemade matalov at the synagogue, but luckily it never burst into flames. It did not cause any significant damages. The suspect immediately ran from the crime scene and is still at large, but authorities are actively looking for the man. This attack comes during at a time when anti-Semitic hate crimes and actions are rising.
We now send you over to Brian Durr with an update on Monmouth sports. Brian.
Thanks, Gabby. The men's basketball team made history last week with a 79-64 win over North Carolina A&T, making this their first ever CAA win for the program. This has been a bright spot in a season that many would call disappointing, as the Hawks are only 2-20. They will look to turn their season around and build some more momentum when they take on Delaware later this week. Freshman guard Jack Collins was also named the CAA Rookie of the Week following a 16-point performance. Sticking with basketball, our women's team takes on Hofstra at home this Friday with a 7 p.m. tip-off. This game comes after a heartbreaking loss over Northeastern that included junior guard Casey Donovan dropping a career-high 24 points with a 10-11 overall record, which includes being 5-5 from the conference play. Ginny Bogus' squad will look to keep moving in the right direction and get above 500 mark. Heading over to track, sophomore pole vaulter Dalton Yost set a school record with 4.92 meter vault. 3 members of the women's lacrosse team were honored this week as a part of the All-CAA preseason team, as voted by the head coaches of all the teams in the conference. Graduate midfielder Casey Orban, sophomore attacker Caroline Brennan were named starters, and senior defender Brianna Falco was named an honorable mention. The Hawks were also picked to finish 6th of 8 in the preseason. Rankings finally, the bowling team finished the weekend's Garden State tournament with a 9-1 record and a notable win over number 25 ranked Merrimack. The team also honored seniors Skylar Smith and Jamie Phelan for the senior day. They will get a week off before a weekend tournament down in Orlando. That's it. That's going to do it for this week's Monmouth Sports Update. Make sure to check out MonmouthHawks.com to stay up to date with all of our teams. Back to you.
That's going to do it for this week's Hawk TV News. I'm Gabby Nadrich.
And I'm Morgan Alston. Make sure to follow us on all social medias as well as YouTube to keep up with all things Hawk TV.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Mom, I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got stuck.
Are you a dog?
I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the pliers? Where'd you find those?
It's not your birthday.
Sorry.
Bye, Grandpa.
Bye, Grandpa.
Take care of yourself.
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.